To the Jews of Aleppo and Damascus, America in the 1920s and 30s was a mixed blessing. While it offered them an opportunity to work, to worship, to hold up their heads and live with dignity, its famous melting pot challenged their very identity. How does a culture transported to another world maintain its traditions and its uniqueness? In 1945, a group of dedicated men under the leadership of Isaac Shalom, philanthropist, founder, and leader of the Syrian community, answered this question by creating an institution that would bind together the community from that day to this. That institution served as a focal point for the community because their children, their jewels, their promise and their future were there. It was Magen David Yeshivah. Come with us as we celebrate Magen David Yeshivah's 50th anniversary. See how it has grown and prospered over the years, how it continues to teach and nurture our children, and how today the growth of our thriving community is straining the school's facilities to the breaking point. Come, reaffirm your commitment to Magen David in its hour of need, and give something back to the institution that, for the last 50 years, has given so much to us.
The Syrian community has a rich tradition going back over 2 millennia to before the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash.
What made us special within the Jewish world is what our rabbis in Spain, through the generation, created a way of learning, interpreting the Talmud.
הכל הולך אחר הנוף, תשימו לב, לא אחר העיקר, לפי המשנה, הכל הולך אחר הנוף.
We gave the world Harambam, Harambam Nachmani, Haritba, other great names. I can name it till tomorrow morning. There is a way to understand what Harambam wrote, but this way is not written in books. It's an oral tradition from generation to generation.
Now there are a handful of Jews left in Syria altogether. So the traditions are shifting here. And the responsibility to maintain this enormously beautiful tradition also shifts here, to the community here in New York and to our school.
Magen David Yeshiva is a community school. Our ancestors came from Syria, and they had the same culture, the same background, the same interests, and they lived together, prayed together, and they cared for one another, and they worried about each other. This is not just a community because we all live together. This is a family.
At this age, children are very open and ripe for learning about Jewish values and Jewish identity. Anyone can teach them how to read and write, but not anyone can teach them how to be proud of being Jewish boys and girls.
The basic philosophy that runs from nursery through grade 8 is child-centered. We try to meet each kid's needs, and that's the commitment that permeates the whole building. Kid walks down the hallway, it's not a stranger, it's a Joey, or it's a Gloria, it's an Albert. The starting point is the individual child.
Okay. We're going to start problem solving again in social studies today. We're all going to be working on the same problem, but each group is going to be solving the problem in a slightly different way. Were the colonists justified in starting the American Revolution? Why and why not?
In the past, children were expected to memorize, to learn by rote. They weren't asked really to think very much. One of the things that makes us so dynamic is that our children are able to be interactive learners. As a result of this, their motivation level is increased, their love of learning has increased, and they have this tremendous thirst for more and more knowledge.
For those of you who are involved in garment center businesses, or whose families are involved in garment center businesses, diamond businesses, many other types of businesses that are design-oriented, these graphics can also be transmitted over the wires. We're in a global economy, a world of information technology. The course of study runs the gamut of all of the computer experience that these children will need in the future. The wealth of information and experience that they gain will be turned back into the community.
Our youngsters come to school at 7:20 in the morning and stay till 5:20 in the afternoon. And we'll take 5 majors in English and 5 majors in Limudei Kodesh, religious studies.
Because nothing is really being settled, and the war continues on for the worst between the two groups.
At Magen David, we go beyond excellence and academic intellectualism and provide all of our youngsters with 3 major values. And they are respect, responsibility, and honesty.
How was your holiday? How was your holiday?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Oh, yes, wonderful.
In our community, you see the commitment and the concern about each other. It's beyond imagination.
Creyendo que tu amor era verdad, me amorchaste propio como una flor y me trujiste a vivir con dolor.
I believe it's part of the old culture. If I can, in one word, describe the Sephardic culture, it's royalty. Royalty.
רחל, מה את יודעת על העיר ירושלים?
אם אשכחך ירושלים תשכח ימיני.
האם אתם מכירים מקומות?
The Midrash tells us that God asked for a guarantor of the Torah, and the guarantor was the children. The guarantor was the children.
בית לחם? את רוצה להראות לנו את זה במפה?
I want to create a strong group of boys and girls that will lead the community as rabbis, teachers, knowledgeable laymen. We have a very big mission here. And I have the full confidence that we're going to make it. Because our students in the back of their mind, they know what we're asking from them.
Each child I look at, I see the future, as it says in the Pasuk in Tehillim, Mipi olelim v'yonkim yisad ta'oz. On the mouth of children, you build the strength for the Jewish community.
Over the last 4 years, a significantly increasing number of parents have been forced to seek scholarship assistance for their families. This current year, Magen David Yeshiva will provide the community's children with over $3 million of financial assistance. Unfortunately, the school can only give out the money that it collects. Without that money, it is likely that in many cases, those children may not receive an authentic Sephardic education.
Spider. Slept. Okay. And this one, Ruth, at?
Having told you how wonderful our programs and instruction is at Magen David, I must tell you that we are absolutely at our limit as far as space and the number of children that we can accommodate for our school.
Our community is expanding exponentially, and unless we begin to plan for it immediately, many of our children will be shut out. We have already begun turning away students, many of whom already have brothers and sisters at Magen David Yeshiva. This is absolutely unacceptable for a community school. The only solution is to expand.
The Little Red Hen. The pictures are by Lucinda McQueen. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen who shared her tiny cottage with a goose.
Right now, we use every nook and cranny. We have tutorials that take place in the corridor. We have a midrash that is used for everything from small assemblies to Hebrew as a second language to reading enrichment, and a resource room that's used as a math enrichment room. Our music and art program don't have rooms. Teachers wander from class to class.
We have the opportunity to purchase the properties adjoining the school on SULHA Avenue. This would permit the expansion of the elementary school. By the year 2000, we could have a new facility that could permit the education of an additional 800 students. That's a realistic, sensible goal, and it can be accomplished in this, our 50th anniversary year, but only if everyone in our community will respond. What is at stake here is the future of our institution, future of our children, the future of our heritage, the future of our community.
When I was a child growing up, my father stressed the fact that education is something no one can take from you. Money comes, money goes, you lose, you make, that's in God's hands. But education is something you cherish, and it sets you apart from others.
שש בסיוון בו נתן התורה לישראל. שש בסיוון בו נתן התורה לישראל.
Isaac Shalom started this school 50 years ago with a lot of foresight, and I look at my job as a continuation of what he was doing. He did his part in it, and now it's my turn to do my part. All of us have to ask ourselves what part we can play.
When I look out at the kids and I try and project 10 years down the road, what I see is a group of kids grown up to be special people, people who care about other people, and people who have committed themselves very strongly to the Jewish tradition and to halachic observance. And I could say, hey, we did something good here. We had a part in this. We put a mark on that human being that's going to affect eternity, because that's what teachers do. They affect eternity. You may think you're only teaching the third grade, but you're teaching eternity.
Tommy.